I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsycHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is the problem of now, or the dirty garage. Over the last few decades, we've heard from a lot of self-help gurus about the power of living in the now. According to these thinkers, so much of our depression and anxiety is due to the fact that we spend most of our time ruminating about the past or worrying about the future. The past and future don't truly exist. There is only the now, only this present moment. Let go. Embrace the moment. After all, this is all there is. And let's be clear, there's nothing about this that is untrue. I've said much of this myself in various episodes over the years. However, this just makes the obvious question to be asked all the more pressing. Namely, if this is true, if there is a free and available solution to so many of our unnecessary problems, then why do so few people live this way? I've thought about this question, and I've come to the conclusion that this advice stops short of a full appreciation of the experience of living in the now, which, while solving some problems, absolutely creates some new ones. Let's examine this further. If we are truly able to arrive at a place where either through extreme control of our attention or a kind of complete absorption in the present moment, past and future no longer exist, and we abide without judgment or expectation or even conscious thought, then all we're truly doing in that moment is sensing, is perceiving. Living in the present moment is a very sensuous or sensual experience. You see what you see. You hear what you hear. You feel what you feel. And whatever is present is the totality of your universe in that instant. And this is potentially problematic for a number of reasons, not least of all being that modern men and women are not very sensual, and that we collectively look down on sensuality as base and puerile, whereas the abstract realms of meaning and purpose are where the most mature and self-actualized people reside. In any case, the problem with experiencing the present moment sensually is that most people's immediate environment is not particularly pleasant to experience. Like, I don't think I would have any problem living in the moment if I were lying on a feather bed covered in rose petals and beautiful women. That sounds quite nice. I don't think I'll be thinking about my tax returns. Indeed, in order to be absorbed in the present moment, most people require a stimulus that produces strong physical pleasure and or a very evocative emotional experience. This is why, according to one of my favorite experience sampling studies, the one and only commonplace activity during which people are focused on the present and do not experience mind-wandering episodes is sex. And like a positive feedback loop, this present focus could very well be part of the reason why we find sex so pleasurable. For better or worse, however, most of us do not spend most of our time having sex, which means most of our everyday experience generally isn't all that pleasurable. Like, just pause and look around you. Do you like what you're seeing? Do you enjoy what you're hearing? Unless you have a lot of money and freedom, probably not. Most people's everyday circumstances are not particularly pleasant. I understand that people can cultivate a taste for unpleasant things. For instance, I doubt there were many people who enjoyed the bitterness of coffee when they first drank it. Just like people can cultivate a palate for food and drink, people can kind of cultivate a palate for experience. But that takes some maturity, and that absolutely requires sitting with uncomfortable or unpleasant sensations for a while. Most people don't want to do that. They don't want to come into direct sensual contact with the unpleasantness of their lives. So what people do is use their judgments and their meanings, and they time travel in their minds into the past or into the future in order, on some level, to cover up the unpleasantness of their immediate sensuous experience, which they would prefer not to feel. If you're interested in taking your understanding to the next level, I would encourage you to check out The Captain's Quarters. my members-only self-improvement community. Your monthly membership will get you access to a cadre of like-minded, supportive individuals, bi-monthly group consultation sessions hosted by yours truly, and exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else. Click the link in the description for more information. Hope to see you aboard. Unfortunately, this aversion to sensuous experience of the present moment can make a positive feedback loop, in that it can disincentivize people from expending the effort to make their immediate environments more pleasant to experience. This is why I subtitled this episode, The Dirty Garage. Let's say you have a garage that needs cleaning, but every time you open the door and peek inside, you think, oh man, it's dirty and dark in there. Do I really have to do this? I don't really feel like spending time in there right now. And so you put the chore off. But over the next few weeks, few months, few years, that garage just continues to accumulate more and more crap, which in turn makes it much less likely every time you open that door with good intentions that you're actually going to make any progress. In fact, the garage might have to get so dirty and so crowded that you can't even walk in there for you to say, fuck it, I'm ready to do something about this. Like the problem had to get sufficiently urgent and painful for you to take action. Misery is unsustainable, which is why I've said that sometimes things have to get worse before they get better. So people avoid the present moment because, generally speaking, the present moment isn't all that pleasant. And there is a specific form of unpleasantness that really tends to keep people out of the here and now. Do you know what it is? The present moment is incredibly boring. It's so boring. Like the Buddhists figured this out a long time ago. Remove judgment and expectation and self-consciousness, etc., and all you're left with is the immediate sensual experience, which is empty. It's not good or bad, or right or wrong, or even pleasant or unpleasant. It just is what it is. And there is nothing we can do about that. There's nothing to do about that. Empty, sensuous experience doesn't really require anything of us, which is probably why most animals can kind of live their lives just being. And I don't think humans can really do that. In any case, with their capacities for meaning-making and abstract thought, they don't really seem built for that. It would be like owning a Lamborghini, but only driving it in the first gear. In any case, simply perceiving sensual reality is experienced by most people as extremely boring, which is one of the most aversive states that humans can experience. Now, certain specialists have tried to tackle this problem head on. Take Zen Buddhism, for instance, whose practitioners sit in prolonged periods of boredom much of the time. Like, I think everyone should experience a Zazen session at some point in their lives. Most likely, you'll be so bored that your mind will start to revolt against you. It'll start to do all kinds of crazy cognitive cartwheels in an attempt to keep you stimulated. And because this isn't particularly pleasant either, most people don't become adept at Zazen. It's the dirty garage again. That said, if you were to stick with it year after year after year, you would likely become sublimely attuned to the smallest fluctuations in your sensory and emotional experience. Like, imagine drinking only plain water for a year. If you were to add just a grain of salt or a granule of sugar to your drink after all that time, you would probably be able to sense it. On the other hand, if you're drinking 3 sodas a day, the glass with the granule is going to taste like plain old boring water. Now, none of this is to say that we shouldn't do these things, that we shouldn't clean our garages. It is to say that simply living in the now isn't going to make your problems disappear, at least not immediately. Beginning to live in the present moment is like finally attending to the garage that you've been avoiding for years. It's going to be difficult and unpleasant and effortful. But if you stop because of that, besides losing the opportunity to develop your palate for life, in all its subtle and miraculous manifestations, and the chance to alter your environment in a reality-based way to make it more pleasant to experience, you will likely continue to be subject to a constant low-grade stress against which you will have to expend more and more of your psychic energy. What we resist persists. So doing the work to abide in the present moment might be worth considering if you're starting to feel like your head is stuffed with too much crap. Just don't let the gurus mislead you. Living in the here and now is not going to miraculously solve all of your problems. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. I also have a few other things that you might want to consider. You can join my free weekly newsletter for which I write original content, or book a paid one-on-one individual consultation with me on my website. There's also my book, The Value of Others, in which I explore the economic model of human relationships, and my member community, the Captain's Quarters, where I host bi-monthly group consultation sessions, as well as Q&As with invited guests. The links to everything are in the description below. Check them out. You might like them. As always, I appreciate your support, and thank you for listening.